Good morning, everybody.
Morning, folks.
Welcome to the Endurance School post-Thanksgiving Tour Day RPE ride. We hope you're as excited as we are. Very excited, let me tell you.
I am very excited too, though you can't see me right now because I am putting my shoes on. And that is always an exciting moment of the workout.
That's right. Everybody loves this part. Everybody loves this part. Looks like we have some good friends out here today. Drop us a little line in chat. Let us know who's here. We've got Barrett over on Zwift and Kirby and Tina. Yay! Oh, this is so exciting. We have a massive 17 people RSVP'd for today's ride, making Molly and Chris the most excited people on the planet today. We have Alyssa Marchington. Alyssa, I invited you to the meetup. Go to events.
And we are off. We're rolling.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Let's see if we can do this while we're going. You see the event, you just have to say, so if you sign into Zwift, there should be something in the lower left-hand corner that says join meetup. You have to start a ride. Oh my God, look at all of these people. Look at all of these beautiful people.
Yes, Molly, you're way up there. Everybody's getting slingshotted up to join you.
I know, I'm so fast.
Yes, exactly. Totally. Let's see. All right.
Ooh, I need to follow my own advice and pick the actual workout for today.
Oh, nice.
Let's see if I can do this while you guys are riding. Menu. Workouts. Go. Okay. So, if you have the workout on your plan for today, go ahead and choose that. If you do not have the built workout yet, I would still recommend getting into the workout library and choosing a 90-minute rider's choice. That should be a fun one. And you'll be able to kind of make decisions and get in and follow the instructions that we are setting. Hoping to catch up to you guys. Come on, Molly. Pedal as hard as you can. So who do we have here?
And over in Zwift, we've got a whole bunch of people.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if they can hear us right now, but it looks like we got an Adam Goulet. We have a T Clear. I'm not sure who that is, but
that's Tim Clear. He followed me on Zwift, so I invited him.
Nice. Welcome, Tim, if you're here on Zwift. If you're here on Twitch, we got Scott Higgins is here.
Scott Higgins.
Nick is here. Barrett Seifer. Looks like we have got Colby. Sometimes some of these names are a little long, so I can't see who they are, but I know your team affiliation is Waddy Inc. Racing. Kirby is here. Tina Anderson is here. Constance from Virtual Camp is here.
Yay!
Maddie Feldmar. Oh my gosh. So many people. This is amazing.
We have Uncle Sushi. That's right. Chris Farmer,
Good morning,
thank you for
Scott.
subscribing. Very exciting.
So those of you, as we're going through the warm-up here, Chris, thank you for giving us a little like a plant, basically. So if you subscribe with your Prime account, or just subscribe because, we're awesome, you can get these built workouts over on our Discord channel. And if you subscribe, we will send you a message through Twitch telling you how to do that. And then you can hang out with us on Discord, which is really fun. And the more people we get over there, the better it is. We can talk about workouts, we can talk about food, and we will be posting all of the Saturday endurance spin scripts that you can put into Zwift if you would like.
I also want to give a big welcome to Puddle's Turbo Rider, Morgan Spriggs, who is here joining us post quad rehab. Welcome back, Morgan. Very, very happy to see you.
Cher Vasquez is in the house. Good morning, Cher. All right, Molly, why don't you give us a little breakdown of what we're in for today?
Okay.
What's the big picture?
So the big thing that we are trying to get everyone a chance to do today, hopefully my avatar catches up to all of my friends. I might have to skip ahead in the warm-up to make that happen. But the big thing that we are trying to get everyone a chance to do today is play around with perceived effort. Perceived effort is an incredibly valuable tool for managing your intensity, and also keeping an eye on some things like, how you are feeling overall, how tired you are, how like race ready you are. RPE is a really great a great way to triangulate some of that effort to performance. So we are going to spend a little bit of time, a lot of time in some of the lower cases, but a little bit of time in 4 different zones today. Actually 5. Do we have 5? I think we have 5. 4.
4 plus ZR.
4 plus ZR, that's right. And we're going to talk a little bit about what your body should be feeling so that you can kind of pay attention to that in that moment. And then when you are training or racing, know if there's something that seems off. So let's say during our FTP, 5 minutes later on at the end of the workout, if that feels like a 5 out of 10 for you or like a 10 out of 10 for you, you know something needs to change. Thank you for your cheers, Kirby.
Molly, where are you at in the 5-minute easy spin?
I'm 40, I'm finished, I don't know.
Okay.
I just went through the little light.
Oh, nice. All right. So I'm about to step up to that first 3-minute effort piece.
Awesome.
If you're following along with the scripted session. Before we do the long Tour de RPE, we have a mini Tour de RPE with like a little step to warm up. Those of you that have been here before will be like, oh, it is the classic 12-minute endurance spin warm up. And really this first step is just like a little bit above easy. Like you should be moving into moderate, maybe Z1 heart rate, maybe Z2 power, depending on your schema.
I would keep your cadence feeling pretty natural at this point. So I think for pretty much everything today, aiming for somewhere in the like 85 to 95 range is probably all right, 80 to 90-ish, somewhere in there. We aren't doing any big gear efforts, so no super low cadence necessary, but keep those pedals turning over.
Don't forget your fluid, everybody. Should be getting through probably at least 1 big bottle by the end of this session. Hydration, as always, super important.
I almost had Matt Feldmar. I was almost part of the group again. Ugh.
Oh man, you got a hype train building.
Oh my goodness. What
I
a
know,
way
look
to
at
start a
this.
Saturday.
This is a good way to start.
So Chris, I'm going to skip forward so that I'm with you guys. Where are you in the workout?
We are 1 minute away from our second 3-minute step.
Oh, okay. I think we're on the same page then. How many seconds?
Okay. 51, 50,
Okay.
49.
Okay. I think it's catching me up, maybe, because I'm at 42, 41.
Oh. Okay, we're close enough for horseshoes.
Yeah. Bagg can be louder. Oh, really don't want to get off my bike again, though. Hang on.
I'll just turn up my.
Just enunciate.
I'll turn up my mic.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, say some things. Okay, I got
Things.
you. Okay, I think you're good.
All right, guys, we make our second step up at in just about 10 seconds. Remember, this is just the warm up here. We're not actually into the Tour de RPE, but bringing it up probably like up to, like this is probably like a solid 5 or a 6, top of zone 2 power. Heart rate will maybe by the end of 3 minutes climb up to top of Z1 heart rate, what the rest of the world probably calls Z2 heart rate. And should still be able to speak in sentences, but then need a big breath afterwards. When we do our 3-minute recovery from this 12-minute build, we will do a quick little how the CBCG zones are similar and different to the rest of the world, just to level set.
They're simpler. Oh, Alyssa, you made it. Good job. I see so many friendly faces in the Zwifting. So if you guys have made it into the Zwift meetup, you should be able to see your friends and companions around you. Sadly, the meetup function seems to have swept me. So, or not swept me, refused to sweep me. So I'm guessing that my view and our broadcasting view is unfortunately a solo ride. Sporty Jenny G. Oh no. Oh, tech problems. I'm sorry.
Ugh.
So we have 1 more minute here and then we're gonna step it up again. It's gonna be pretty darn fun. Oh wait, now I'm closer to you guys again. Wait up, guys, I'm coming. Come on, Zwift.
You'll probably get back on.
No, I see you. I see you in the distance.
Ooh, I can see your giant,
my beacon.
Giant like pillar of light.
Go on.
Yeah, you're not far.
I'm 5 seconds from Laura. Laura, can you hear me?
Oh, you're gonna get there. No problem. I would slow down, but like, it doesn't.
It doesn't
there's
care.
There's no way to slow down in erg mode.
Oh my God, I see you, Laura. I want to high five you so bad.
Okay, guys, in 10 seconds, we're going to step up to our 3rd step. Probably going to be headed into like 6 out of 10 moderate hard to hard effort here. In the warm-up, we actually go pretty high intensity-wise. We're going to end up at around 95% of FTP, which, with the exception of 1 interval today, is the hardest you'll ride today. So you're going to get at least very close to the highest intensity done here in the warm-up.
Awesome. Do we have Aaron here too? I think we do. Aaron, are you out there in chat? It's okay if you can't respond because you're working so hard or because you're afraid that getting off of your bicycle will cause your meetup. Oh wait, you're not in the meetup. Awesome. Oh, it's so good to see you guys.
Oh, nice, Molly, you're back.
I know I'm back. This is so good. I'm back in the fold. So Aaron, I'm not sure if I can add you to a meetup once it's already started. But you should be able to follow along with us using the workout that is in your training piece. But we will get this. All of the tech is just one of the big learning processes of COVID endurance school. All right, just over a minute here, and then we've got to take our final step up.
Colby, thank you for subscribing. So appreciated. Katrine, welcome.
Hello.
This is a big group.
Yeah, this is awesome.
It's incredible.
It's
They're like-
almost worth not having pie for breakfast, like I thought about. It's
You thought
totally
about it.
worth. It's totally worth not having pie for breakfast. You can't have pie for breakfast and then do your spin workout.
Yes, you can.
Your pie sits a lot more stably than my pie does.
Oh, yeah, and you're kind of like blowing up my last 2 days of training nutrition.
I need like 45 minutes between pie and exercise.
Oh,
Because there has to be a post-pie nap. 10
okay.
seconds, guys. We're going to take that last step up. Nick says he's on the pecan pie plan. All right, step it up. So we're just shy of threshold here. Breathing should definitely be making it difficult for you to speak in complete sentences.
I always find 95% to be like 3 or 4 words max.
Pie on the bike. See, Adam, I could get behind that.
Yeah, whoever said that, now we're on the same page.
Yeah. Good work, team. Good work. Actually, it's probably a pretty good indicator for like the effort you're supposed to be at this point in the season. Like, if you can't eat pie on the bike, you're working too hard.
Exactly.
Matt Feldmar, cool new Zwift jersey. All right. We are going to keep familiarizing ourselves with this specific zone for another minute and 45 seconds. And then we get a little break.
I just had that moment where I was like, oh, I forgot to turn on my fan. And then I was like,
No, I did.
I can turn it on with my phone.
Nice. Thank you, fan robot.
Yeah. Love the fan robot. Fan droid.
So, this is also a good time to check in with yourself to lay out the rest of the workout for this morning. If your effort at this point feels higher than a 7 out of 10, you might want to bring your FTP down a little bit. If your effort at this point feels lower than a 6 out of 10, you might want to bring your FTP up a little bit. "45 seconds.
Molly, where would I adjust my FTP in Zwift if I needed to do so?
Chris, how would anyone know the answer to that question? You can do it through Zwift Companion. You can make some smaller adjustments in there. Bigger adjustments, though, I think you need to go into edit your profile and change your FTP there.
Got it. Okay. I was wondering if there was a way to do it.
The plus or minus button in Companion will let you change it up to like 10% maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, 10 seconds. Right into the arches of glory. Nice. And recover. Good work, everybody.
Yes.
Sip those water bottles. Make those FTP commitments.
All right, so CBCG zones, a quick primer for those who haven't been here. Molly, you want to walk us through heart rate
Oh, yay.
or power?
I can do heart rate.
Yeah.
So what we're really trying to do with our zone structure is simplify things. And I'll just kind of like glaze over these because I know a lot of you have heard us talk about them before. But ZR, you want to be really, really low effort. Like Chris describes it as more of a massage than a workout, which is about right. ZR should feel like you could do this all day. Like you could be at that effort and on a Zoom meeting at work and no one would know you were riding a bike. Z1 is where you're going to end up spending a lot of your endurance training. Should feel somewhere in the 4 to 5 out of 10 range. Not hard. Actually, maybe even lower. Could be lower. Let's go 3 to 4.5. Z2 is going to be just a little bit of a step up in effort. It'll encompass a lot of your racing efforts for longer distance racing, especially. Z3 gets into our terrifying tempo range, which tempo we will get to later is broadly misused by the endurance community. But zone 3 for us is going to be anything shy of threshold. And then zone 4 is going to be very hard above threshold. Sorry, I'm decaffeinated, so a little slow today.
That was great. Yeah. Power is probably the system that you guys have bumped into a lot. We would love to line it up with our zones, like ZR, Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4, but there's such a wide-ranging acceptance of the Andy Cog and zone system that we just kind of be okay, we don't use it exactly, but it's pretty close. So in that case, Z1 is recovery, matches with our ZR. Z2 is endurance aerobic, matches with our Z1. Z3 is tempo, matches with our Z3, our Z2. Z4 is threshold, matches with our Z3. And zone 5 is VO2 max and above, matches with our zone 4 best effort.
Quick pause, 5 seconds, starting our 20-minute interval. Chris, take it away.
3, 2, 1, and we're off. Ideally, this is not much of a change from what we were just doing. This should really be, as Molly was just saying, anywhere from the 3 to 5 range, on the scale of RPE. Obviously, it kind of depends whether you're sort of easier endurance work or slightly more difficult endurance work. But what we've got this workout set to, if you are using power, is this interval is 70% of FTP, which in most power systems is going to be kind of middle upper, top half. So we're really hoping that for you, for the next 19 minutes, this effort is going to slot into 4 or 5 out of 10 or moderate.
It should start maybe even on the easier side. Remember, these are longer efforts that you'll spend on at this percentage of FTP. So you really want to leave these feeling strong, not feeling like you left everything out there.
Yeah, this is the zone that you could ostensibly do a 5, 6, 7 hour ride in. It would be uncomfortable for sure.
So would any 7 hour ride.
But if you were fit and trained, no problem. This is going to, for the vast bulk of athletes out there, encompass your Ironman distance intensity.
Yep.
Ironman intensity, it's usually going to be depending on the time that you're aiming for the bike split, between 65 and 80% of FTP. Buyer beware about 80% of FTP. That is probably a special case, and even age groupers who are at the front of their age group are going to be much more in the 75 to 78 range.
Yeah. And a good way to think about the percentage of FTP when you're coming up with your race intensities, or how well trained are you for your race? How much of a reach is this for you? And how long is it going to take you to complete that leg of the triathlon? So if you are aiming for somewhere that is, like if you are aiming to complete an Ironman and you know that you're going to be within sight of the bike cutoff, 70% is probably going to be like 65 to 75 to 70% is probably where you're going to be for that ride. If you are trying to Kona qualify and there's a reason why you're trying to, if you're not just trying to because like you have wildly unrealistic expectations, if you've been really training for it and you know you have a shot at it, you're probably going to be closer to the higher end that Chris is talking about. But even so, like a lot depends on the course. If you are on a harder course and a longer course versus a flat and fast course, make those decisions carefully, because what you put out on the bike really determines what you get back on the run.
And one of the reasons that we are doing this exact workout is that at the end of the day, really you should be pacing your Ironman, your half Ironman, your long endurance rides. You should really be pacing those off the feel and RPE. Because as Molly was just saying, a flat course is going to feel different than a hilly course. And really understanding what those different levels mean to you, not just to the computer on your stem and the inert power meter on your bicycle, which I'm sorry to say, they don't care about you.
They're not your friends.
They're not your friends. They are neutral, inert devices. And too often, we end up sort of teaching to the test, which is not a good recipe for success for any sort of endurance event. An endurance event really means anything longer than 3 minutes. So
yeah.
So that's all of us.
And that's a big part of what we're here for today, is to try to break that loop of looking to your devices for confirmation of, you know, whether you are in the right zone and racing to the degree that you should be racing. The most important metric on race day especially is your perceived effort of how hard you are working.
Yeah, Aaron, if your relationship with your bike is going south around mile 90 of an Ironman, I mean, there's a few things going on. Like, I get it. You know, by that point, you're starting to sort of be over it.
Yeah.
But if we're talking, so emotional caveat aside, we understand.
Yeah, right. We've been there.
From a physical perspective, even if you're starting to intellectually and emotionally get sick of your bike at mile 90, physically, you should actually be coming into the section of the day where you're going to ride the strongest. And if you can't at mile 90, then you have probably gone too hard early on.
I will asterisk that because Chris is absolutely correct that is one of the things that can determine it. Another thing that can be going on there though is just not enough bike mileage. That's the well-trained part of this equation, and I'm not saying that for Aaron's case specifically, but for all of you, like if you feel like your long rides have gone according to plan and you have a plan that is going to work for you on race day, if you've not been accumulating a significant amount of bike mileage, you should expect that plan to go south. Ironman needs a lot of time on the bike.
Yeah. Or you're just going to have to like modulate your effort.
Yeah, bring it down. Right.
Yeah. Yes, Adam. Doing Louisville in freezing rain is going to affect that output. But an important part of your training is still to understand what the correct effort is, because everything feeds into effort. Um, when we ask athletes to rate a workout on a scale of 1 to 10, the first thing they do is they're always like, well, if I compare this with another workout, I should have been able to be blank. And that's not the question we're asking. It's how did the whole thing feel to you?
Right.
And that takes into account how much you slept last night, how much pie you've been eating.
Some pie.
How much fluid you got in this morning, along with your coffee, like the fight that you had with your spouse 4 days ago. Like RPE, whether it's in training or racing, is based off of your entire experience as a person, not just your siloed experience as an athlete.
Katrin, that mileage for Ironman varies a lot depending on your history in the sport and your goals. The more aggressive your goals are, the higher that mileage gets. For very, very aggressive Ironman, Chris, what were you saying? Like 300 miles a week is what you feel comfortable at for big Ironman goals.
Yeah.
But for average age groupers, myself included, you can dial that back a lot and still have a big day, still have a successful day. But probably not riding at my highest possible percentage of FTP over 112 miles. I would like to see, I feel comfortable at around 200 miles probably for Ironman training. But it really is different for everybody. And you want to see those miles in a couple of weeks in the 6 to 10 weeks out from a race, not necessarily 250 miles a week sustained over 12 weeks. It's have a great race. Sorry that no one's talking to you anymore.
Yeah, that 300 and up mileage that Molly was citing that I've found comfortable, that's a constrained period of time.
Yeah.
That's not, you do have to build up to that mileage, but peak mileage is, as Molly was just alluding to, a dangerous place to live at.
Can make you grumpy and hungry. But if you think about your Ironman training, in a couple of big weeks before race day, you will likely have a ride over 100 miles for 2 or 3 of those weeks. So getting to a 200-mile week is not very difficult. With another 2 or 3 quality rides in your schedule, you can easily have a couple weeks at about that effort and feel like you're rolling into race day with some legs on you. 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, we are almost 60% done with this interval. As you have probably noticed, Molly and I are very able to communicate through this intensity. We're talking in sentences, paragraphs even. So let that be one of your guides as we're going through, zone 2 power, zone 1 heart rate. And as some of you are pointing out, it's like the blue zone in Zwift. And I think you can see, on Molly's screen, that faint blue line at the bottom. Mm-hmm. She's hanging out in her Zwift blue zone. Sensations you should be feeling. Really not much stress in the legs. You shouldn't really be feeling pain, discomfort, muscular contractions. Pretty much legs are just going around in circles. No problem. Breathing. You can probably hear mine and Molly's, but
it's a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably your best gauge when your breathing becomes a thing that you notice, you're probably in zone 1 heart rate, zone 2 power, RPE of 3 to 5, or moderate. So that's where all of you guys should be. And we gave you about 12 minutes of riding in that intensity because you do need things to stabilize. And so if you're not experiencing those sensations, as Molly pointed out before, now's the time to like shift your FTP a little bit, either through the companion or those little up down arrows on the left side of your screen.
Yeah.
Where it says 100%.
Not the tab though. Tab skips the interval.
We'll see you next week.
Right. I also think Alyssa makes a really good point that, you know, it's interesting that there's so much data that goes into training and racing, and then the most important thing is RPE. I think that one of the problems that's caused by all of our data and all of our tech is that it allows the athlete to make poor decisions in the name of execution and fidelity, to like have that perfect race where they rode at exactly 174 watts. And there are many times throughout the day where your body is telling you to make a different decision, and if you don't listen to it, it will eventually have the last word.
Molly, what's been our favorite metaphor about RPE and data and everything like that, and then race day?
Oh, I was gonna go with you can't uncook the turkey, but which I thought is so seasonally appropriate.
That's true.
But what is it?
I was going for we've been kicking around the musical metaphor. That like Alyssa right now, by doing a workout like this, you are practicing your scales.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of words and ink spilled out there about like, you should always train and race by feel. But most of the time, those places and outlets don't give you the tools necessary to train on feel. It's like handing a kid a violin and being like, dude, just play it. and then, because you can't, that's when we see athletes getting a little over-reliant on their devices. But if you can use workouts like this to really understand what the data means in your body, then on race day, you are free. Like, free to respond to what's happening around you.
To operate in expertise.
Yeah.
There's also a real, like, you know, Ironman's scary, especially for people who are new to it. Anybody should be a little bit scared for an Ironman, but I think there's a like a chance to kind of psych yourself up before the race and feel confident. Sometimes your confidence is correct that like you should not be scared, but your confidence also should not lead you to a more aggressive race plan.
Right, don't move the goalposts just because you feel good. Like, how many times, Molly, have you chatted with an athlete after a race and they're like, but I felt so good at the start.
Right. Catherine, you bring up a good point too. This is what we were talking about with those mileages was specific to Ironman training and racing, and specifically in the like 4 to 12 weeks out. The where you are right now, depending on when your first race is going to look vastly different. I am probably also riding somewhere in the 50 to 100 mile range at this point. It's important to have periods where your body either gets stronger from like moving up slowly, or get stronger from backing off significantly.
And Katrin, I'm guessing that a lot of your riding is indoors right now, and depending on how your trainer handles mileage and stuff like that, your mileage numbers could be way off. And so like this time of year, better to just hit like a certain number of hours per week that like you can build from, and that will build over time. And that's going to be a much more helpful metric. Mileage is eventually like a nice like brute force kind of way of doing it. Honestly, like I do end up defaulting to mileage like as we get deeper into training season, but it's more of like an emotional comfort rather than like sound for me. Then like it means less than it seems like,
40 more seconds, guys. That 20 minutes just flew by.
Yeah.
And Kirby, welcome to the experience of 95% of athletes out there. I would say even 98. Setting yourself up for a good run is the emotional, mental, and physical work of triathlon training.
And Katrin, if you're, the mileage is also really dependent on what race you're aiming for.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sure. If you're getting ready for an Ironman,
Recover.
oh, hooray! Knock it off. If you're getting ready for an Ironman, 100 in the summertime is probably a little low, But again,
you can do it, maybe.
Yeah, and it's super goal dependent, everything like that. If you're training for a 70.3, probably doable. Again, all of these caveats about goals and intensity.
Way more doable.
If you're training for an Olympic distance, hell yeah. You can do it on that. So it is like all things in this world, it depends.
Yeah. But another good reason not to trust all of these arbitrary numbers about percent FTP. They don't know you, so make sure that you know what your body's response to effort is, and you can gauge that intensity and how long you'll be able to sustain it and still be able to run off the bike.
One of the projects that Molly and I are slowly working on is like a program that basically teaches you how to do all this.
Right?
In like a nice contained format that basically takes you through all of this work that we're doing right now. Something we're super excited about that we will eventually get to.
You'll be hearing more about this soon. Exactly. Not eventually, soon. Adam, that is a very wise takeaway. I was also thinking about the mileage in terms like for indoor riding. I've been trying to get my Zwift bike, obviously. And so I've been doing all my built workouts on like the Alp to Zwift. And even though I'm having a fine workout and I don't really care like that anybody sees my hour-long workout and that I averaged 4 miles an hour for it, like that's fine. Those 4 miles that I rode count as 20 probably or like 18 or 20 for my training plan. So like time and all of that stuff is wildly variable.
Brief joke about it depends. One of our guests on Detention from a few weeks ago, Coley Moore, he and his co-host, whenever one of them say it depends on the podcast, the other one exhorts their listeners to drink. The joke, of course, being that it's probably the phrase that gets uttered the most in endurance circles.
That, and on a future podcast, I feel like we should have a cue for everyone to sip from their water bottles on these ones. Probably one of us digressing about zone structure, or anyone talking about pi.
Some wild metaphorical tangent.
Right. Keep you guys well hydrated.
Exactly. BT has been, as a lot of us, watching a lot of Netflix while on the bike, and she has some hydration games that she plays. One being that whenever Kiefer Sutherland takes his glasses on or off, and she's very well hydrated. All right, Molly, what we got coming up next?
We only have 1 more minute left of recovery just about, and then we are going into 83% of FTP. That's right. Tell me with your body what 83% of FTP feels like. The correct answer is probably somewhere in the 6 to 7 out of 10 range. Let's go for 60s on this. This should feel somewhere in the zone of a half Ironman effort. This should feel like something that you could sustain for a few hours. It should feel hard, but not very hard. It should feel moderate hard. That's this is a good indicator for any of you who are training for 70.3 efforts. You're likely to be somewhere in this range. All right. And we're going to start that in 15 seconds. I'm going to read Scott's comment between now and then. Tron bike. Oh, you have a Tron bike. Yeah, Matthew has a Tron bike too. I don't have a Tron bike. Ugh. All right, ready, set. Let yourself find that 6 out of 10 effort. Or listen to your kicker as it finds it for you. But again, always a good time to check in about effort level and whether or not that corresponds to the effort you should be feeling right now. Another thing to keep in mind with FTP is that it is a number that we find with highly imperfect tests, and the tests are getting better, and we get lots more information from tests that do different variables, so very different intervals. So if you've had some experience with Inside, you'll know a little bit more about this. They don't base their numbers and zones entirely on FTP, which is super helpful. If you do something like a ramp test for FTP, the likelihood that your FTP is a little bit overestimated is pretty high. So the issue that we're trying to find here is not only what is that effort where you are burning the same amount of fuel that your body, that you're able to take in from the atmosphere enough oxygen to fuel your effort. And above that, that you are depleting yourself and your body, and below that, you have a little bit of extra room for combusting lactate. There is a question after you find that number, though, of how long you can sustain it. So make sure that you know something about these things as you are creating your zone structures and following zone structures. So you might find that 4 to 5 out of 10 felt right for the last interval, and that this feels challenging. Listen to your body. Bring down your FTP if you need to.
Free plug. If you're interested in Inside testing, that's on sale all the way to Monday.
Black Friday.
20% off. So go ahead and check it out. It's over on the CBCG website. Molly, why is this middle zone so
Stupid?
so well, why does it have so many different names?
You mean tempo?
Yeah.
Well, one reason is because it's not useful for all that much except for racing. That last effort, that last zone that we were in is super useful for endurance, for volume, for getting you stronger. But there's been a lot of good research on like the impact of these different steps up on like over the course of a long ride. And they have relatively similar training effects, but the higher efforts have a significantly higher risk of overtraining and injury. So we don't tend to use them all that much. That said, caveat, this is the zone you will use if you're training for a 70.3. You will use it somewhat sparingly. You will use it on race day. But you don't need to do all of your long rides in this zone to have a successful race. In fact, you're more likely to end up fatigued and overtrained if you do that. So, love those endurance zones. In fact, this zone and the zone above it that we'll be visiting in our next interval are both tempo. What does tempo mean to you?
Oh, what does tempo mean to me? I don't know. It's been so abstracted that like I guess, you know, like I've just come to associate it with this, like in terms of power, zone 3, in terms of heart rate, zone 2. I've come to associate tempo with like long, steady efforts, probably less than an hour, but more than 20 minutes that approximate whatever race I'm preparing for. Like, I think that's the extent of the branch I'd be willing to go out on.
I think that sounds right. I feel like they're placeholders for some specificity would be beneficial here.
You know, like, I guess if we're talking like run feeling, I would be like, okay, this is faster than my just go run effort. But it's slower than I would go for like any work on the track. If I was doing like a standalone 10K, probably a little slower than like standalone half marathon. On the bike, because like this is where you spend so much of a road race. Like, so from a cycling perspective, like this just feels like bike race effort.
Yeah.
There will be periods of horror sort of interspersed with this steady effort. But yeah, I mean, I think you can hear me like grasping at the same straws that the endurance world is with this zone.
Well, and I also think that there are moments, and they are of increasing frequency in this zone and all of the zones above it, where your body's like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And right now, that should not be a frequent occurrence, but certainly in our last interval, it should be. As we have increasingly practiced to say, FTP is the time when you are producing and combusting the exact same amount of lactate. It is your steady state, but it is that after you go above that point, your brain is going to try to tell you to slow down. And I think how many times it sends that signal is that it is not a zero amount at this effort, but it shouldn't be a frequent occurrence.
What should like my body be feeling like during this effort?
So we're over halfway through at this point. My guess is that it started off feeling a little ouchier than it feels right now. I always find that in these areas my legs resist a bit and then kind of get with the program. Right around now, actually, maybe 5 minutes in. And I think that that's like muscularly where you should be. Cardiovascularly, I think like you don't want to hold your breath right now, but you, if you absolutely had to, you wouldn't fall off of your bicycle. Whew. It's also a good reminder that in these zones, you can still be fueling and hydrating consistently. Don't forget.
Yeah, and since this is like where a lot of our races are going to end up, you know, like 70.3 and shorter. But as Molly just said, like you should be able to keep fueling and eating, which means that on race day, you should be able to keep fueling and eating.
Also, if you struggle to fuel and eat or fuel and drink in these, you need to practice. Adam, I like that definition of tempo from the anatomy world in terms of abdominal muscle recruitment. I like it. I don't think the endurance world has used it with that specificity.
Yeah. It's great because like, I think one of the things that is so frustrating about this term is that there aren't really like physiological events that happen within it. Like maybe LT1 is at the bottom, but that's really dependent. Maybe LT2 is at the top, but again, that's pretty dependent. So it does end up being this sort of vague middle zone. For those of you that are like, LT1, LT2?
Dirt.
LT2, you're probably all super familiar with. LT2 is the physiological moment that we have defined as threshold. What Molly's been talking about the moment when you are creating and combusting lactate at an equal intensity. So it gets called lactate threshold, anaerobic threshold, though that one is sort of a dangerous term. FTP, maximum lactate steady state, blah, blah, blah. You're probably really familiar with LT2. LT1 is where there is a significant shift in your lactate from baseline, but not a continuing grow.
It's an inflection point.
Yeah. And that's usually like right around that point that we're talking about where you shift from that primarily endurance zone to this tempo, medio, Z2, whatever, moderate hard effort.
Physiology with the endurance school. 3 more minutes, guys. Whew. And Nick, we will all proudly wear the banner of nerds in this scenario. I'm super cool otherwise. Whew.
Yeah, it's sitting right there at 20 people.
I know this is the
20
best.
people on Twitch.
This is the best. Look how many people are in Zwift. I love it. It's like a proper group ride.
I'm taking bunches of pictures.
Oh, take more.
Yeah, no, I've been doing quite a lot.
All right, guys.
Twitch feed.
What?
Just another exhortation to, if you're a subscriber, join us on Discord.
If you're not a subscriber, you can subscribe for free on Prime. With Prime.
It really helps us make this a thing that we can, continue doing. And it allows us to furnish you with those structured workouts for these Saturday rides. And you don't have to watch ads.
Yeah, that's the best part. The ads are always not targeted for endurance athletes too. They're always like, Arby's. What's the Stephen, oh my God, my brain is like, give me caffeine and breakfast. I've only had one breakfast so far. Stephen Colbert, when he started his takedown of Arby's, when your hunger is stronger than your memory.
I know exactly how that feels.
So Scott, if you have subscribed, make sure you linked your Twitch account to Discord, and you should automatically see the server. If not, send me one of those little messages, and I'll send you a little invite. Aaron, excellent question. What is Discord? Discord is our future. Colby, same as Scott. Sync your Twitch account to your Discord account, and the Discord server should show up. Aaron, Discord is a place for chat. It is a place for putting up memes and pictures. It's also a place where you can do voice and video talking. So at some point soon, we are hoping that these Saturday rides will have a more interactive component, at least for you guys. Recover. It's so good. But it's also a place where people can connect offline. So when we're not actively broadcasting, and put questions in there, talk about things. Cam put something in there recently about the use of beets and dietary nitrate for endurance athletes. I left some studies up there that I thought were pretty cool. It's a good place to kind of like talk, share information, make jokes, get learning, and eventually have some video and chat functions. They're there right now. You're welcome to use them. They are unmoderated and are likely to remain so. Share. I will see if I can put something on Facebook on how to connect Twitch and Discord. It's an easy integration though. It's like when you signed up, or if you signed up to subscribe with Amazon Prime, it's something like that where it's like, click on this and then log into Discord and then click on this and now they're connected. I will put that on the Endurance School's Facebook page today. And then I will eat more pie.
And just shoot us an email too.
Yeah.
Send us a note via the regular email channels and we will get you a link. The numbers at the moment are still pretty small, so we don't have to worry about remembering 300 emails to send. So, the 4 or 5 of you guys that just asked, shoot us an email.
Yeah.
And we will get you the link. We'll get you on there. And it'll be awesome.
As for the invite, it went out through Twitch to all of our subscribers. So maybe look in your junk mail. It's not from me. It's from Twitch. So it should say Molly sent you a message with Twitch. So make sure that did not go to some of your filters. I can easily see how it would. And yeah. Aaron, yes, you are officially a priority recruit for a Discord. I know your meme game is strong.
Yeah, Aaron, we can have a GIF meme off. I tend to sit in the Hope and Oregon Trail GIF world. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to seeing what your meme game is like, because I'm okay with GIFs, but I'm not great with memes.
I'm pretty into 30 Rock and Angry Babies.
Solid.
Yeah. And I will send another invite to all of our subscribers today. I have 2 things to do today. I'm already very busy. Thank you, Aaron.
Hey. Thanks, Aaron.
We appreciate you.
Super duper helpful.
Everybody drink your water bottles.
Yeah. So we got 2 minutes for interval number 3, where we're going to spend 10 minutes at the mystical land called Sweet Spot. Again, a little bit of like, where are we in physiology land? Sweet Spot is going to be, you know, just like a significant step below your threshold. In terms of power, this next interval is set at 90% of FTP. I would describe this as just old, plain hard, vanilla hard, not moderate hard, not very hard, just good old hard. 7 out of 10 is the RPE number that we're aiming for. This is going to be like, if you have some really ambitious goals, this is going to be around 70.3 effort. Also, this is where we head into Olympic distance effort as well. It's a pretty big range, you know, so like, this is going to be like ambitious goals, 70.3, and then people who are doing Olympic distance efforts, but maybe not like aggressively. So got about 10 more seconds. In terms of focus, you're pretty much just going to have to focus on this. It's not 100% focus, but it's close. Okay, and we're off. 90% of FTP. Zwift, if you're using erg mode, should do that for you. If not, and you are using a power meter, start heading to 90% of FTP, 7 out of 10 effort. Heart rate wise, in our heart rate zones, this is going to be like top of Z2. And so that should be all of your description markers. Those are all the things that you're aiming for. Talking, I'm getting there, but you're kind of in 3 to 4 words and a break. You can't really be doing full sentences. And it does take significant effort to figure out what you're going to say next. Because again, most of my focus is on driving the pedals.
There's something weird going on in the Zwift group. I think there's a gateway, because for a while everyone disappeared from my thing, and then I think it broke us up into like 3 different groups. Zwift is fascinating.
I think you're right.
Because I'm with Colby and Tina. I don't know what's happening. But then Matt Feldmar and Nick, yeah, I don't know what's happening. Very exciting. Alyssa's on dirt? Okay.
I know that they gate some part of Watopia to certain levels, but I thought that if you were in a meetup, they didn't go with that.
And I think Quatchquest is a standard, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're
there's
over
Matt.
towards...
Wait, we're getting swept. We're all getting swept.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Oh, wait, no, everyone's missing. I don't know what's happening. But I don't know why Alyssa's on dirt. Alyssa, are you on a mountain bike? When would you use this zone for training and racing, Chris?
So for racing, this is going to be Olympic to 70.3. In a bike racing context, this is sort of like when the field is committed, like when the group is riding strong together. And then in terms of a training context, we're going to use this more often than tempo, the zone just below this. but still, like, this is a race-specific interval, so you're going to see more of this in the last 8 weeks, probably before any distance race. You'll also see it early in the season when we are building you up to be able to deal with longer threshold efforts. This is a nice, like, building intensity. So early on, asking athletes to give us like 4x10 at FTP is a bit of a tall order. You know, your system is just not there yet. Like, fat oxidation hasn't built up. Like, capillary density is not what it will be.
Neuromuscular sadness hasn't accumulated.
Exactly. And so very often we'll see like a similar progression to the threshold progression, but at this intensity. So maybe you start with, I don't know, a 10-minute interval. And next week, maybe a 15-minute interval. And then 2x10. And then, I don't know, 3x8. And then 3x10. You guys get the picture. You're accruing time and zone. One session that I think is a really good one for bike racers and 70.3 and Olympic distance athletes is towards the end of your build. So 2 to 6 weeks out from race day, doing a 90-minute ride, well, a longer ride, with 90 minutes around this intensity with a very slight acceleration, mostly from cadence, every 3 minutes. So just something to break up the rhythm, and like really get you used to the level of effort at an extended amount of time, but with the little vagaries of race day. So small hill, got to get around some annoying age group male who is not letting the women on the course pass.
Huh?
Yeah, right?
Never heard of
Gust
that.
of wind. Age group male athletes in the ride right now. Don't be that guy. And that is a challenging, but usually really fun session that most athletes on the front end are like, ooh. And then they do it and they have a blast. They really enjoy it. Because it's like long and steady, like you kind of have something to do and to focus on. So that's one of my faves. Again, that's got to be towards the end of the build. Do not do that until you can do, 6 by 15 minutes at this intensity. Something like that.
Only a minute 40 left. Good
Yeah.
God. I think most of my talking in the next interval is going to happen in the rest break.
Well, there's a really good reason for that, right?
There is. It should be physiologically challenging to say a lot in the next 5-minute interval. All right. Watch your cadence, guys. At this effort and at the next one up, it's going to be easy to let that really fall. I recommend keeping it up.
Especially if you're using erg mode.
Yeah.
It's easy to, as Molly has said from time to time, I think this bike is riding me.
Yeah. Especially in FTP. Whew. It's not the boss of you, though. You own your equipment. 30 more seconds.
And if it is feeling like the boss of you, that is a great hint to turn that FTP down.
Yep. And FTP choices like that do not mean that your FTP has changed. It could mean that the day, something specific about the workout, your FTP is not a static number. It changes day to day and even throughout a workout. Ready, set, recover. And it is another piece of data that does not own you. And if you have the little notification thing from Training Peaks that says you set a new FTP number, turn that right off. Recover. It's best because it is something that moves between a confidence interval. It is best to retest that 8 to 12 weeks from the last time that you tested. Depending on what your focus is. If you're really in a bike focus, or if you're focusing on like lowering your rate of lactate production, your VLA max, maybe 8 weeks. But it's a fine tuning, typically. And if you're testing more often than that, or listening to Training Peaks assumptions about you, you're getting bad information. Okay, get into those water bottles, because in just less than 4 minutes, we are going to be spending 5 minutes at FTP. Are you excited? I'm excited. I think you're excited too.
I am. This will be my first touch of that intensity since I started back like about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yay!
Haven't really done any sweet spot either. And so, like Molly and I have been having like a fun, like, where is Chris's heart rate today? Game. And it's been really interesting tracking the sort of slow come down back to what I'm used to. And so what I'm interested in this 5-minute interval is seeing what the heart rate is at the end of it.
And that's actually it's a good setup for the thing that I wanted to tell everybody. For this interval, if you have been pretty like on your game and honest with yourself and adjusting your FTP throughout the course of this workout, or if you are pretty confident that your FTP is correct, and you have the ability to measure your heart rate right now, if you are in a place where like, you've been training relatively consistently, you're not coming right off of a rest period like Chris was, take a look at where your heart rate is in the middle to end of the next 5-minute interval. That is likely to be an approximation of your threshold heart rate, which is really good information to have. Threshold for the bike tends to be somewhere around 10 beats lower than threshold for the run. But remember that effort. You can extrapolate that effort to the run. Check it out on a run at some point when you're well warmed up and see if those match up. Good information to have, especially say if your power meter fails you on race day. It's excellent to know about what your threshold heart rate is. However,
Molly, what?
Yeah. No, I was going to say, if you're currently dehydrated, if you're very hot, or you're 95% comprised of pie, that might be a little bit high.
I was going to ask you what specific condition that your training environment is particularly prey to will adjust that.
My radiator is bumping right now. So I'm training in like the jungles of South America. My heart rate is likely to be high. I'm not measuring my heart rate right now. I know what my threshold heart rate is. There are some things I'd rather not be aware of. No, my heart rate monitor hasn't gotten here yet, but I just ordered one from Wahoo last night. I was waiting for a Black Friday sale. I was disappointed.
Yeah, Wahoo's not discounting anything right now.
Yeah, they're giving people a year of Sufferfest workouts if you buy a kicker. All right, 25 seconds. Wrap your head around FTP. This is a good chance to practice some self-talk. I had a great chat with Alyssa Marchington about how effective that can be, which was delightful. And this is the type of effort that should feel difficult to sustain. So get ready to talk yourself into sustaining it. Ready, set, go. So we are aiming for right at FTP. Effort should feel very hard. Hard to very hard. Spicy vanilla.
We should do these as ice cream flavors.
They should. What would this one be? Like a Mexican hot chocolate?
I think you're right.
Could
I think
be.
spicy chocolate. VO2 max, Rocky Road.
Yes. Oh yeah, seriously. Very rocky road.
Maximal effort, pistachio.
Oh. Really focus on keeping your legs turning over. Right at FTP is potentially a sprint distance race, just at or above threshold. Could be spent here. A very well-trained Olympic distance race for a very well-trained athlete who is expecting to finish the bike leg in right around an hour and knows that their time to exhaustion is over that point. Breathing should become audible. Legs should become fatigued, but positive self-coach. You got this, Molly. I'm already proud of you.
Yeah, my legs are feeling not burny, but uncomfortable.
Like a taffy stretcher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But these efforts also tend to go by pretty quickly. We're already almost halfway through, so keep it up.
And as Molly noted in some of the other intervals, leg discomfort higher to start and then relatively easing off.
Yep. Aaron makes a good point. 1 minute at a time, breaking hard things up into smaller intervals is a great self-coaching device. It's why we do so much math when we're working. Like, oh, right now, we just passed the 60% mark. 40, yeah. We're pretty pumped.
Remember also that this level of effort, when you are fresh, is probably something you could sustain for like 35 to, at the other end of the spectrum, 75 to 80 minutes. So it is a sustainable effort where you're balancing on that edge of very hard. If you've got your FTP set to a place where you don't think you can do that, Molly, what's the answer to that?
Lower your FTP. Don't let that number own you. It is just a point upon which we build communication. If the communication is wrong, the point is wrong. Yeah, I don't know how we got here, Nick. This is like my third time up Alpe d'Huez today, or this week, and I've yet to make it to the top. 15 seconds, guys. Nice work. Keep those legs turning over. Finishing strong with neuromuscular communication intact. And recover. Holy cow, guys. And that is what your threshold feels like. That is...
My heart rate.
Yeah, what was your heart rate?
157.
Boom. Making it rain.
We are... what's interesting about that is that, to me, that says that, this is unsurprising, that Chris's cycling fitness is returning a little bit quicker than my running fitness.
That's probably right.
Yeah. I mean, don't forget that you are the athlete that you are. And you will have relative comforts and limiters. And for me, it's always been the run. I went for a Z1 run earlier this week, and by the time I got home, even though I was just running steady, my heart rate was firmly Z3. Even though my level of effort still felt like 4 or 5 out of 10. So it just, it takes some time to kind of get back to what you're used to after a break. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I hope you guys had fun on this Tour de RPE. In case you have yet to notice, Chris and I are really passionate about athletes knowing their own stuff. We think that empowered athletes perform better on race day and enjoy the sport more. And it bumps us out to see people who are kind of beaten down by arbitrary expectations and beliefs that don't add up to a happy athlete and a successful race. So this is kind of the first steps that we're taking, building up some new offerings for how to better get to know your own zones and to use RPE in a way that is really effective. So thanks for joining us for it. It was super fun for us. And a great way to start with a sweaty Saturday red.
Yeah, I just have to go for a little run and I'm done with training for the day.
Hooray!
Let's see, coming up. Well, first of all, we will send out another Twitch email to our subscribers about Discord. If you're not a subscriber, why wait? Join us today. And coming up this week, we've got morning routine on Monday, Tuesday morning, Sufferfest with Chris.
Sufferfest with Chris because Molly did Hell Hath No Fury last week and is still crying. Sufferfest tears of pain.
I believe we're doing thin air on
right.
Tuesday, which is a great chance to practice that sweet spot intensity that we did today. Tuesday night, we've got Erica Ackerland, ranked in the top 20 in the world on the ITU circuit. Finished with 3 top 15 results at World Cups on the ITU this year. Super cool athlete, really cool backstory, very interesting.
Yeah.
So
kind of a natural.
Yeah, exactly. On Tuesday, we got Amy VT Yoga Wednesday morning, and then Zwift Ride on Thursday. No endurance spin next Saturday. It's every other week. I will send out an invite to this Thursday's Zwift session pretty much right after we get done with this.
We'll have Chris and Molly do their homework time.
Yeah, exactly. We'll figure out who's setting that one up.
No, Teresa, no yoga on Sunday for the fall semester. Late start yoga on Wednesdays now. And if you want a Sunday yoga, you can always go onto the videos, the house videos that are on there, and play like a Wednesday that you missed. The last 2 weeks should be up there. But we are giving VT some time to do her own training on Sundays. Awesome. This is amazing, guys. Thank you so much for joining. It's so great to see you all and get to ride bikes with everybody. Yeah, this is the best. You guys are awesome. We'll see you again in the places that we see you. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.